Hello gamers, welcome back to another free-to-play Ultimate Iron Man Progress video. I want to start off by giving a GZ to Bobbert Robson on 99 Strength. GZ. Next I want to give a big GZ to I Have Boob on matching her melees. Congrats. Next I want to give a massive GZ to both A Lot of Props and Beauty on being the 5th and 6th free-to-players to get 200 mil fishing XP. Absolutely huge, you two. Congrats. Also want to give a big GZ to Hard Bubbles on 99 Mining. Congrats. And then lastly, I do want to give a GZ to Teeson War on getting 99 Defense. But what I want to do more is I want to highlight the fact that Teeson War was the most recent victim of the infamous false bans, which have been going around. So, hoping that you're going to get your account back soon, bro. So, in my last video, I was finishing up the initial Minotaur grind, trying to get the bone fragments I needed to match with the Law Rune stack I had. Essentially, the plan here was that I didn't want to waste any of the Law Runes. I didn't want to just drop them. So I ended up wanting to just match it with the rune crafting supplies I would need to try to do some fast rune crafting. This was like right as the run update had come out as well, so I was trying to get all these supplies together and trying to test all these rates because nobody had really been doing much rune crafting yet. So I wanted to, understand how much faster things are going to be with the new run stuff, and more importantly than me, how much time it was going to end up shaving off of the final grind to maxing. So I did that for a little bit, but I only ended up really getting like 2 weeks of gains in before signing up for a bingo event. One of the clans that I don't main necessarily, but I do have an account that is in the clan is Phoenix. So I've talked about them a little bit in the past. Essentially, they're kind of the newer free-to-play focused clan, free-to-play Iron Man specifically. So they decided to put on this bingo event. So if you don't know, bingos are pretty popular amongst clans in RuneScape. Generally, the idea is you have different tiles aligned with different things to do in game, whether it's like get an item drop or get an XP amounts or things of that nature. And so I saw that they were putting a bingo together. At first, I wasn't too interested, but eventually they did drop the bingo chart or the bingo board, whatever, and it looked pretty fun. Kind of the big things of note were that I saw that the Bryophyte essence was a drop, and so the UIM Iron account doesn't have the Bryo essence because I never ended up getting it from any of my previous Moss Giant kills. So I figured it'd be kind of a fun thing to do, and since the Alcrid account is limited and can't really go anywhere, they let me sign up on the UIM. So it's the duo competition. I ended up signing up with Ricky Horizon. She's one of the mods of the Phoenix clan. And the way that things were split up here were that one person in the duo was given the Saradomin title, one person was given the Zamorak title, and there were several tiles that only you could do. So, for example, I was the Saradomin individual, so I had to get certain drops I was the Zamorak. I'm not too tied in with the lore. But yeah, so I was the Zamorak, which meant that I had to get drops like the rubies or the fire talisman, the Zamorak robes. There's a couple other on there as well. And then the Guthitz drops, or the Guthitz tiles, those are ones that anybody on the team could do. So I had a plan put together as soon as I dropped this board. Essentially, in my mind, I sort of figured that because I was already really close to the drop rate for the Bryo Essence, I figured that I would just rush all of the other tiles really quickly and then just kill moss giants and get every Brio key I could and like do them as I got them. And in my mind, over the 2 weeks that this bingo went on, I sort of figured I was going to finish it in like the first week, just get it over with, and then I could get back to rune crafting. So I had this really fun route right at the beginning where um, like a bunch of tiles I was able to knock out really within just in the first like 2 hours. I think I started off at the Chaos Dwarves because they dropped something like maybe the tomato or I don't remember what drop exactly, but pretty much I had this like nice pathing where like immediately went to the Zamorak altar and or the Chaos altar, killed the Chaos druids for the robes. I ran quickly to the Goblin Village, killed some goblins until I got the red tape. I quickly got over to Musa Point and then to the Karamja Volcano so that I could kill the imps for the beads. On the way I killed the fire wizard for the fire talisman, killed the lesser demons for that like 30 fire rune drop or something. And then from there, the main goal was to just focus the moss giants, kill as many as I could, do every clue that I got because I needed to. There were three tiles that had clue rewards. One Zamra tile, two Death's tiles, and then over that time, I needed to get random events. So like the uncut or cut ruby, and then the 10 fire runes from the maze random. So those are just things that I figured would just come eventually if I just kept playing. But the big thing was that I was just trying to get as many Bryophyte kills as I could to get the Bryo Essence. And I did 2 solid weeks of nothing but logging in every day, killing Moss Giants and killing Bryophyta, and I never got the Bryo S. We ended up getting most of the other tiles. Rigid Horizon ended up getting pretty much all of her tiles. I think the only things they ended up missing were just the 2 boss drops. So, it's whatever. I had a lot of fun. It's not something you have to do every day. It was definitely a fun break from just the normal stealing grind, and it wasn't for nothing. I got a decent amount of Prey XP. I got a decent amount of extra law runes for more rune crafting. So overall, it was a pretty fun time. Definitely thanks to Vlad for setting all this up, and if there's another bingo in the future, I hope to sign up. And so with the bingo out of the event, I was able to really sit down and actually get through all the rune crafting I needed to do to get rid of my law rune stack, which had now grown from all the moss giants I ended up killing. So pretty much got to test all the new rates. It's kind of interesting. I had never really done body runes with law runes before, but I found out that if you have body runes and noted essence, you're actually going to be getting slower rates than you would without law runes. This is because essentially when you're doing it with law runes, the trip is shorter. So with the run energy you have, you're going to be able to do an extra lap before you need to do a run restore, where you teleport up to Farrat's Enclave and unnote. But when you are, Chron canoeing, when you have to run from the Chronicle spot, you are going to have one less trip. So you're going to be doing that shorter run restore trip more often. So that's kind of an interesting thing I found out. Even though it's like slower, it's technically faster in the long term because you're going to be spending more time getting that like higher XP with your noted essence. So that was kind of just a fun thing I learned. Otherwise, though, got to test all the other rates. It seems like actual efficient, Bodytron canoe with the noted essence is around 9.1k per hour. Without, it's a bit less. It's like 7.2k. I ended up using all my law runes. I'll show a quick clip here of me getting 99 magic. Kind of a 0 time steal, so it's not really too much to write home about, but the 99 Magic really did cement the fact that I was actually in the Prey RC wall. I had no other skills besides those two to go. And then, of course, after I finished the Law runes, I sent a quick hour or so of Earth runes just to get the rates for that. That's looking like about 5.1k per hour. So yeah, we got new rates for everything, which is good to know. It let us, have the math to update temple and everything, and the new rates are out. So if anybody lost a bit of EHP on temple over the last couple of weeks, that's why. But yeah, so with runecrafting out of the way, I sort of was able to move on to other things. This is kind of cool. So the idea here is that for a long time we knew that we knew that both the oak trees and the yew tree were in this like multi-combat zone south of Falador. So we knew that two-ticking with two 4-tick attack speed NPCs was possible. Obviously, the big discovery a couple of years ago was that you actually could get the rats there for the oak trees, which is now the EHP rate for woodcutting. But the yew tree posed kind of an interesting thing because technically, if you could get both the rats over there and do two-tick yews, it would be a little bit faster than 2.6 willows for fire making. So nobody had really tested this because only one of the rats actually makes it over there. The other one, its wander range isn't quite as far, so it doesn't get all the way there. And we knew that you could pull one of the guards over as well, but nobody had really tested it to see if it was actually viable in the long term. This was until Ayaboob decided to give this some testing some point earlier last year, but pretty quickly found out that it was kind of tough to fire make in like a correct way, that either the rat would like wander far away or the guard would like mess up or something. It was also like kind of difficult. Nobody really knew like a quick and easy way to get back on cycle. So like when you leave the spot, you have to re-aggro the rat, and then nobody really knew like the best way to like hit the rat quickly to get back into the two-tit cycle. Essentially, it really just hadn't been tested very much, and so Ayaboob came along, and she did a decent amount of testing to kind of figure out the best way to go about getting the rat back on cycle. And so essentially she learned that she was getting some pretty good rates, but because she didn't have 99 woodcutting, nobody really knew what the actual rates would be. So me, along with Helpless Bob, I think, we kind of went down there and decided to give it a bit of a try just to see what kind of rates we could get. And we learned actually it's decently faster than 2.6 willows. I think Tanadino's best hour with 2.615 willows was only like 69k fire making SP an hour, maybe 70. But we learned pretty quickly doing the two-tick U method that 70k is like very easy to get. And honestly, I'm sort of thinking that 75k might be possible. I ended up setting the hour record here, which was pretty cool. I thought about going for the sits hour, but I already own the woodcutting sits hour for UIMs, which I just got from doing like normal 3-tick double snow willows. So didn't end up setting up a full thing. But yeah, it's a pretty cool method. I am just not very good at getting the rat back on cycle. Like I've watched Ayabu's video over and over again. I've like had the visual tick indicator on screen, like trying to figure out like when exactly after the auto retaliate that she clicks the rat. But for some reason, it just doesn't work. Like my brain just doesn't compute how this is operating. So it takes me a couple tries to get the rat back, which is definitely losing me some time. Also, it's also kind of it's up in the air about whether or not switching over to the oak tree is ever worth it, or like when that's worth it to like burn those logs as opposed to just like getting extra woodcutting XP and then dropping them for yew logs. I think that's something that needs a bit more testing as well. This is probably something that like I'm going to come back to in the future. I actually really did enjoy this method, even if I'm not very good at it. It's definitely more enjoyable in my opinion than 2.6. I've only ever done a little bit of 2.6, but I never really enjoyed it. Just because like it's something about switching in between the snow action and the auto tally action that I didn't love too much. But yeah, because this is just auto retaliate, I think it's a pretty cool method. The one thing that does suck about it though is that because it's not just the rats attacking you, because it's a guard, even if you have like full rune and 99 defense, 99 HP, you're not gonna last forever. So it'll be a bit annoying to either suicide or to like kind of just run away and like Ferret's telly and then like Faldor telly back. I guess would be the fastest way. Which like it kind of sucks that wood cutting might require a lot of runes, but it's such a small amount that I suppose it really wouldn't matter too much. And I suppose you could also do maybe like, the Lumber's home tele probably isn't even that far, but even if that like doesn't work out, maybe you could do it the ports room jail teleport. Maybe that's like a little faster. Who knows? Anyway, yeah, fun method. Figured I'd show it here. Maybe something I'll do in the future. Another thing I kind of wanted to touch base on as well with is free to play in Ultra RuneScape recently celebrated its 10-year anniversary. That being February of 2015 when the free to play game mode is officially launched. And it's kind of crazy to think that this game mode has been around for that long. That's a long time. Like, I only started playing really actively playing in 2020. So I guess I've been playing for about half of this time, but it's crazy to think that for as long as I've been playing, there's like another 5 years before that all these other people were like getting gains and starting up a lot of these free to play clans, and there was drama in the past and other accomplishments in the past and like videos on YouTube that I'll sometimes still find and like some videos that just don't exist anymore. Yeah, I don't know, kind of a cool thing. So we got a few folks together for a little picture by the Taverley Gate. The kind of the iconic, you show up there as a noob back in 2006 and try to open the door to the gate and it won't let you in, so you don't have membership. So yeah, kind of a fun thing. Yeah, definitely happy that 10 years have gone by and hoping for 10 more. Okay, so with all that out of the way, let's get into the meat and potatoes, and that is prayer. So I want to get 99 prayer, which sucks for me because it's a bad skill. Now, what I really mean by that is prayer is just an entirely different beast from all the other skills in free-to-play Iron Man because it relies on world hopping, which means that I am always going to be running into hop limits. So, as you'll remember, in my last video, I talked about how I recently got kicked off of the Jagex client. So essentially, I wasn't able to load up the Jagex launcher. Wasn't able to load up the Jagex launcher RuneLite, and this kind of sucks because essentially I lost access, or at least I thought I had lost access to all of those hops. And you might remember from like the Matson guide I explained this. Essentially, there are two world hop sets. The one you get on the manual login clients, like typing your username and password, and then another set of hops for the one-click logins, that being the Jagex launcher and mobile. So I knew I still had access to mobile, but mobile sucks, so I didn't want to, have to rely on those necessarily. But something I did end up learning, which I hadn't booted up in a while, so I didn't know, but I still have access at least to the Steam client. And so this is pretty cool. It means that instead of only being able to train prayer for a bit less than an hour, I'm able to train it for 3 hours. That being double hopping on the RuneLite I still have access to, and then single hopping on the Steam client. Unfortunately, you can't double hop with Steam client. I looked into it a bit. Essentially, the only way that you can load two different instances of a Steam game is with some kind of sketchy third-party software, which, with the false bans going around, I'm not looking for any reason why Jagex would like ever need to look into my account for whatever reason. So yeah, definitely not going to be trying that. But it's cool. It means that I'm going to be able to get a lot more prey XP, and it also kind of switches up my kind of larger goal for how I'm going to be training this skill. So originally, when I thought that I was only going to be able to do this for an hour at a time, I had come here with my runecrafting supplies, and I was ready to kind of switch between doing an hour of Boneyard and then quickly switching over to doing Earth runecrafting. However, though, with having like 3 hours of time that I can do prayer, it makes more sense with how I play the game and how often I'm like sitting on my computer playing that I think I'm just gonna rush prayer. Or at least while I'm like feeling this motivation to do prayer, I'm just gonna kind of grind out as much as I can. I at least want to get like 96, 97 prayer, but I definitely don't think that 99 outright is like out of the picture. I definitely think it is possible, especially now that I've started to actually learn efficient boneyard. For the longest time, I did not enjoy efficient boneyard, specifically because of the berry movement, which is required to do this method. Essentially, what berry movement is that if you bury a bone and click somewhere on the game world in the same tick, you're able to move while you're burying that bone. So essentially, you're not wasting any time by sitting around and burying it. Which this like kind of makes this method possible. But for the longest time, I just really didn't like it. It was pretty intensive on the wrist, and so after the run changes came out, and after this 2.5 method, essentially 5 bones per 2 worlds, I figured, I'm gonna just give myself 1 week. I'm gonna put myself like in the prayer like boneyard boot camp. I'm just gonna log in every day. I'm just gonna try it, and I'm gonna see if I can at least learn it. So I figured, I'd never really given this method like a proper try, and I was used to the method that I've done in the past of just the one big and the one small bone, and I was perfectly happy and content doing that. But I really wanted to get some more prey XP. I wanted to see if I was capable of getting some like bigger XP per hour figures. So I did a week of it, and at the end of the week, I got pretty comfortable with the method. I moved my client around, I changed like the angle or whatever, I moved my inventory a little bit, just trying to find like what was going to require the absolute least amount of wrist movement, and I ended up getting a pretty decent setup for it. I've gotten some 18k an hour or like even more than that XP per hour like hours. Now that they're really hours, it's more like 50 minutes before I hit the hop limit. But I've got it to a point where I'm starting to enjoy it. And so I think what I'm going to be doing is probably just focusing on this for the rest of prayer. It's kind of interesting because like when you're doing continuous hop like this, you are locked in to the game. Like there is no downtime to look away. There is like no downtime to change a YouTube video or a Twitch stream or anything like that. Like you are full focused on playing for those 50 minutes. And I don't know, like in a way that's like there's some times when like that's pretty enjoyable. Maybe sometimes where it's not too enjoyable, but I don't know. Like I think it's also something about how like you can only do this every 5 hours or so because after an hour of this you have to wait 4 hours for the hops to come back. So it's kind of like that's kind of the balance of it. Because normally like for something as click intensive as this, like I think for example, doing like prayer at Minotaurs or like burying the bones at Minotaurs, it's not really fun there because it's just something about like having to do that just all the time, like over the course of hours, that makes it like not fun mentally, or at least it doesn't like make it work in my brain that I want to be doing that. But when I know that it's only 50 minutes of this, and then at the end of that 50 minutes I get to take a break and just do single hop on the Steam client, I don't know. That seems to work with me. So I think I'm going to be doing this, and I think the plan is that I'm just going to be going for 99 prayer. So one thing that kind of sucks about this, I ended up getting PK'd by some random up here. Like the last couple of weeks, there was just some like random noob who is hopping the entire world list, which is pretty annoying because you don't need the entire world list. You only need like a small subset of worlds to do. I mean, you only need a small set of worlds to do double hop, much less to do single hop. So every now and then, like I would crash him. I thought nothing of it. I figured it was just like some bot or some noob who'd move on, but this dude gets his like 126 combat main account to come up here and PK me. Which, like, I had no run energy. So this guy shows up. I have no run, no armor. So obviously, like, I'm just going to die. But it was kind of sad. I ended up losing the Jester tape that I've had since like 2020. Like, I went through the oldest screenshots I could find on my computer of this account, which are like, it's like January 2020, and I had the Jester tape then. So it was a little sad. Like, I sort of had this like meme that I was gonna like hold the Jester tape and like keep it all the way through max. So it's a shame that I lost it, but end of the day, it's really not that big a deal, I guess. I mean, I didn't have any other valuables on me. I didn't have any like stats of items. I lost the power ammy, which is gonna suck to get back when I go back to killing minotaurs for rune crafting, but I'll sort of cross that bridge when I come to it. But yeah, just kind of like a funny thing that happened. I ended up putting a bounty out on the guy who killed me. I haven't seen him since, but I know that I have Boob. She's had some accounts that like she's used to like PK up there. So I pretty much told her like I give her a mil GP every time that she kills this guy. But he hasn't come back, so or at least I haven't seen him. So maybe I don't know, maybe they're just done, with her all up there training prayer. So I was actually gonna post this video last week, but right before I was about to post this, I signed up for this 48-hour HP competition called the Spring Smoke Break. This was a just quick competition that was thrown together by a guy named Utism, who is a 200 mil lawler who also plays another level 3 account in pay to play. But essentially, kind of just over the past couple months, I've been more interested in signing up for these competitions. So I figured, what the hell, I would sign up and see how we did here. So I wasn't able to catch the draft live, but I'm not a huge gamer, so I wasn't high in the draft seed. This was a draft comp, so everybody kind of gets like seeded in a way, and all the captains kind of choose from that. So I think I was in the like 6th or 7th seed, so like the 7th set of like picks from each captain out of like 10 total. Which some people might be like upset that they weren't ranked higher, but honestly, like I'm not a big sleep deprivation person. The Terry comp kind of taught me that I can't do some of the hours like other people can, but it doesn't really matter. I ended up getting drafted to Ucht's team because he was one of the captains. And I sort of knew, like right from the get go, like, cause I knew some of these people on the team already that like we were probably going to be doing some pretty big hours. So essentially, with a 48-hour competition, it's 42-hour plus 6 at the beginning, for 48 total. So it started on like a Friday afternoon. I really wanted to do the first 30-hour without sleeping at all. So I like over the past like 2 days before that, I had kind of like messed up my sleep schedule so that I would only wake up at noon, like as opposed to waking up normally at like 8, 9 a.m., which I usually do. So, I tried that strategy, woke up, had like an hour to just kind of like hang out around the house, and then jumped right into the competition. And, it's an EHP comp, so just playing as much as you can. My strategy for this was to switch between rune crafting and Boneyard Prayer. I can't just do Prayer, obviously, because of the hop limits, but I didn't just want to do rune crafting because I figured I would get bored of that. And I still wanted to, push toward the 99 Prayer goal. So I ended up just switching between this and Earth Runes, which I think was a pretty good strategy because it kind of like it would push me to game a little bit longer if I knew I had like a world hop set coming up. So like for example, like the second night when I was like super tired, and even the first night too, I didn't end up doing the full 30 hours of no sleep. I hit a wall around like 7 a.m. and I just like couldn't keep going. I needed like a little bit of a nap, but it ended up lining up pretty well because I had a hop limit that started at like 6 a.m. And so like I knew like if I could just get through that, and then like I could sleep for like 3-4 hours and wake up to like a fresh set of world hops, which is kind of nice because that means I would get like do over 1-1 for that one 50-minute session afterwards. So did that, and yeah, just played all weekend. I slept twice. Some people didn't sleep at all, which is they're crazy, but I can't do it. I wish I could because it would make me like a much more valuable player in some of these competitions. But I hit a wall, and like I don't know, maybe it's because I'm getting old, or maybe because I won't like almost stop my heart with like taking all these energy drinks and such. But regardless, I think it was a really cool thing. So I definitely just want to shout out everybody here on the team. Also shout out to everybody on the Hasidi's Home Invaders who were the second place team. They were actually really neck and neck with us towards the end of the competition. It's sort of funny. So we had this like false sense of security going into the second night that we were like pretty comfortably ahead. And so a couple of us on the team got a little complacent with that and decided to all like sleep at the same time. And it's so funny because like I tell everybody that I'm gonna take a quick nap, and I wake up to like 100 messages in our team's Discord saying like, hey, they're catching up right now. We need everybody online playing. So I in a panic like jump out of bed, get back on, and play through the end. And it was so funny. Like there's a point where we're only up by a couple ep, and on the other team you're seeing that like everybody on the home invaders is like they have like 5 hours of EHP logs. Like they're all about to update and they're about to gain a shit ton of EHP. And we're all like panicking for a second that they're gonna like catch up, but thankfully they didn't. And obviously like this is super cool because it was my first team competition win for a badge comp, which means that I'm now essentially the only free to play UIM with a badge on my profile. There are a couple other free to play irons that have badges, but like pretty much all of them come from the free to play comp that was back in January. I think the only non free to play comp badge holder is Chaotical still from the Cherry comp. But yeah, just super fun competition. Definitely shout out to Torchinama for like just absolutely like bazookular hours. Just like being like 6-7 6 hours into the comp and still posting like 6.2, 6.3 every 6 hours. Just absolutely insane. And then Cassidin, that's Autism's level 3. He was just gaming hard as well. Turnt was gaming, Cheery was gaming, Spook was gaming, Hooba was gaming. Like pretty much everybody who does over 40 in a 48-hour comp is a beast in my book, which is like for some reason was like our whole team. It was funny. I went into this competition thinking that like I would be really happy. I was gonna try to push for like the top like 6 or 5 on our team. But yeah, just everybody ended up gaming way more than me. So I'm happy. I mean, I still did over. I told the captains when I first signed up because I had never done a 48-hour before that I was thinking that like anywhere around like 30 ep, like 25 to 35 ep would be like my range. But knowing like because I knew the captain knew like I don't know, I figured that like because like our team was doing like so well, I figured I would just add on to that and try to grab like the win for the team. So I'm definitely glad that I pushed myself. I think I could push myself a bit more. I think the problem with doing the prayer method with this is that because I knew I had 4 hours to wait until more hops, I did sleep the full 4 hours, which I really didn't need to do. I probably could have replaced the 4 hour sleep with like a 2.5, 3 hour sleep, and that would have gained like a bit more up. But it's whatever. I think in the future I would like to push for a like 40 ep 48 hour, but I don't know when the next 48 hours is going to be. This is also like a really lucky kind of timing for me as well because I had nothing going on this weekend. The weather was like really shitty outside all weekend, so like I wasn't having like FOMO of missing out, like going out and like doing a hike or just like being out in the city, whatever. So yeah, regardless, cool comp. Thank you, Uch, again for hosting it, and thanks to everybody on the team for carrying me. And I'm happy to have a badge. So to end off the vid, we'll look into the future of how I'm going to be focusing Boneyard. And this is something I feel like I need to cover just because when you're talking about a method that is so reliant on hop limits and world hopping, it's not just as simple as me logging in and playing a certain amount of hours a day. It's something I do genuinely need to plan out in terms of how I can most efficiently use the world hops that I have in between, me waking up in the morning and me going to bed. So right now I have a base goal of getting 300k XP per week. Keep in mind that for every time I hit a hop limit on the on Runelight doing the double hop, I'm doing about 15.5k XP, prayer XP that is, and then I won't usually hit the hop limit on the Steam client because it takes like 2 hours to do that, but I'll generally do like at least an hour, which if I haven't even tested the rates. It's like 10k an hour, I think. So essentially, like going through like the average week. So Monday morning I have to go into the office. So I usually won't play any RuneScape that morning, but I'll hit a hop limit as soon as I get back from work. I'll play maybe like an extra hour just throughout the afternoon. Monday is like one of my big like exercise days, so usually that'll take a decent amount of time. And then I'll usually do at least a hop limit before bed. So, 2 hop limits, an hour of hopping on Steam. It's like 40k. Tuesday and Wednesday, I don't have to go into the office. So I'll usually try to do like 3 full hop limits. That's like, if I wake up at like 9 in the morning, I'll do a hop limit till 10. 4 hours goes by. 2 o'clock, I'll do a hop limit. 3, 4 hours go by. I'll do another hop limit sometime in the evening, like right before I go to bed, and then like doing some Steam in between there as well. So I'm taking like 50k prayer XP on those days. Thursday is kind of the same as Monday. Have to go into the office, so I lose a hop limit, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's like sort of the weekend for me. So that kind of wildly depends on like what my plans are. I'm either gonna be just at home chilling, weather's bad, nothing to do. I'll do like I'll do 3 hop limits and some Steam. Or it's gonna be like I'm traveling or I'm hiking or I'm just doing any other things I do on the weekend. Which like that might take like an entire day away from training any prayer at all. So I had kind of have just like this general benchmark of like 40k prayer XP for each day over the weekend. So that all kind of adds up to about 300k a week. But yeah, like it's kind of a weird point right now, just with how like dependent I am on like specific times of the day of being able to play. I really noticed this too. I just came back from a vacation recently. I was like gone all week, so I was only able to do like a little bit of a prayer XP on mobile, which like the mobile client is just not not very good, so I don't use it very often. I definitely could be doing some more mobile boneyard throughout the day, but I'm just not doing it because I don't want to play that much. But yeah, so overall, if I can keep this pace, that means that doing 300k prayer XP a week, I'm gonna get 99 prayer sometime in the next 16 to 18 weeks. So that'll put me probably early mid July potentially for getting this. I'm not sure how well it's gonna hold up. You know, things might come up. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna rush 9 a.m. prayer all the way. I might stop and switch to rune crafting at some point. But yeah, this is kind of just like a general outlook for the future. These are what my days look like. This is how I am training the method. And from this point, there's really not going to be too much excitement in the next like progress vids. just because it's this, it's this method or it's rune crafting, and it's another 1,500 hours of just this. So we'll see. I'm sure I'll find something to talk about in my next rambles, but yeah, keep an eye out for those. Otherwise, I think I'm gonna end it here. Thanks everyone for sticking around, and yeah, I'm streaming on Twitch decently often, so feel free to check me out there, and have a good one.